Horizon Chance, Homosuji Reacts, and this is Heroes of Might and Magic 3 review. Patrician's Choice, TBS game, okay, by channel ssethtzeentach. The original cult classic turn-based strategy game. How does it hold up nearly 2 decades after its release? 1999, damn. So yeah, I did the Heroes of Might and Magic 2 review by Seth. It was fucking awesome. In that he obviously said that how 3 is literally one of the best game ever. Right, and obviously he made a review of that. So yeah, let's do this one. We'll see how great this is. 2 was already awesome. I don't know. It was a review of Seth that was awesome, but I don't know. All the features was, it made it unique. I don't know why 2 was not as good than 3. But if that's the case, then that means that this game will have something really incredible. So let's watch it.
Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be reviewing Heroes of Might and Magic 3.
What is this?
Do you have any special talent?
The bottle thing. You're hired.
Reviewing Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is a difficult request. While you have good games with strong followings, you also have exceptional games with fanatical followings. Fans of Heroes 3 applaud the game with a religious zeal, and rightly so, for much like a well-oiled, silky-skinned, and voluptuous temple priestess, you can play her for months, years, and still not master her. In every crease and fold of her soft assets, there's always more to learn and explore. New strategies to test the limits of her depth and design. In other words, it's a really fucking good game. More than a decade old, Heroes 3 still shines.
I was thinking, why is this game age restricted? Why is this video age restricted right now? But yeah, it makes sense now.
A gorgeous, melodious, and tactically rich turn-based strategy game. Of course, when I refer to Heroes 3, I mean the complete edition, almost every Slav and their grandmother own by now. Not the HD edition, which contains neither of the expansions and has every texture in the game sharpened and airbrushed by underpaid interns, making every monster in the game look like some bootleg Mugen character. Although, to be fair, most of the mods out there for Heroes 3 also look like bootleg Mugen characters. The concept of the game is ridiculously simple.
That's the problem I have with certain games, right? Certain games when modded, they're supposed to be better because they have sharper texture. But unless you literally redesign the engine and how textures are supposed to look, sometimes if you sharpen something, it was already unrealistic looking thing, right? Now if you sharpen it, it just looks weird, right? It doesn't even have the original charm to it. So that's why certain times some games, the original looks, vanilla looks better than the modded one. That's the reason. If your textures are really old, that you literally have to remake it if you want to make it any, look good, look realistic, right? Then sharpening it and, making it, I guess, more, more textured, more higher texture version will not work. It will just look weird, sharpened image. So that's why lots of games, I used to play and I knew mods exist. But I never put mods on because it just looked weird.
Simple. You can play as any one of 9 different... You can play as any one of 8 viable factions, represented by different towns, while you pick as any one of 8 viable...
Inferno is trash? So this one is trash, huh?
Factions, represented by different towns. While you pick your starting faction, you can always conquer other towns and use their units as well. Each town is unique in its own strengths and weaknesses, although some towns have more weaknesses than others, with each town capable of producing 7 different tiers of units, ranging for example from lowly troglodytes to red and black dragons for the dungeon town, or skeletons to bigger skeletons for the necropolis. These cities get plastered and spread through the game world, represented by a common map area shared by all players. If you've built the appropriate unit dwelling, a town will offer you units to recruit, which replenish at the start of each week. Unless there's a plague, in which case everybody dies. Bizarrely, this also includes the undead.
YouTube circa 80, 2018. He's talking about plague a lot. this is also realistic in a way, right? Because every time plague has hit, centuries ago, it wiped out most of the, basically population. When the plague hit in Europe, holy shit, 1 in 3 died.
Remember to keep your heaters on in the winter, as pneumonia is still a leading cause of death among the elderly.
This is uncomfortable right now.
Liches and power liches. Each turn you take on the map counts as 1 day, meaning every 7 days a new week begins, and everyone's army expands, if they can afford it. You often start scenarios and campaigns with a chosen or given hero, each with unique abilities that can be exploited to victory. These act as generals under your direct control, with a limited number of map moves to spend per turn. Each leader can hold 7 stacks of troops, arranged by position and formation, making up their army. A stack visually represents the number of a certain unit, which influences the outcome of combat. Losing all your stacks means defeat for your hero. Heroes can't die, but losing a fight will usually make them run off and join the enemy due to your incompetence as a leader. All this information finally makes sense when we get to the combat, which is also turn-based and divided.
Wait a minute, so heroes can basically run off and join the enemy? Damn, that is a bit advanced than I would have thought. Damn, I like that element. That joke was perfect, eh? Every 7 days a week begins.
rounds, and initiated by players by robbing dwarven or Polish banks, or moving next to enemy heroes on the map. Each round, every monster on the battlefield gets a turn to move, attack, use abilities, wait, or defend, and that's the simple gist of it. When a stack attacks another, their stats are multiplied by the number of attacking creatures. Pretty simple shit, right? So if level 18 Craghack with Expert Offense attacks level 18 Tazar's 4 Chaos Hydras with his 5 Ancient Behemoths, who we can only assume has Expert Armorer, how much damage would that be? Easy. We just balance this quadratic equation, plug in our expression coefficients into this algebraic expression, do a linear regression, find the acute angle in this triangle, and solve for x. Okay, real talk. Any mouth-breathing polygon journalist can say this gay, generic shit. You know enough about the game. Let me try and convey why it's so good. Your leaders can't directly intervene in combat, but their stats transfer to units, their artifacts are bullshit ridiculous, and their spells are some insane shit. And that's why the game is so damn enjoyable. Each town can build mages guilds to research random spells of increasingly higher level. Sometimes you get hot garbage like Hypnotize, which lets you waste your mana and fumble your turn, and other times you get nice stuff, like Armageddon. Armageddon detonates a nuclear bomb on the battlefield, scorching everyone on it for massive damage. Except, there's a few troops out there who are immune to fire damage, or spells in general. A fun tactic, as in not fun for anyone else, is taking several spicy boys with your hero and running straight into enemy lines. The larger their army is, the better. Cast Armageddon, destroy most of his army, and retreat. Rebuy your hero at the tavern and do the exact same thing every turn. At most, you spend a few thousand gold on this strategy, while your enemy is incurring maybe 20-30,000 gold worth of damages each time your suicide bomber rushes them. Berserk is also a fun spell. It turns any enemy rabid.
Oh, I kinda see why this game is so fun, right? I mean, there's an element of randomness. You research certain things and you get certain number of spells, and that can become your, I guess, speciality. So every time you play a game, there's an element of surprise type of thing, right? Your build could have a kind of a power that you didn't have before this time, because research came out with different type of power. So the Armageddon, literally just killing everything.
Attacking whoever's closest, be it friend or foe. With expert fire magic, Berserk becomes even more balanced, since it gives magic rabies to everybody in a 10-mile radius, or 16 kilometers for those of you still using outdated barbaric systems like metric. It's particularly enjoyable watching your friend's army tear itself in half without even lifting a finger. In many ways, Heroes 3 is the torture porn of turn-based strategy. Then there's the issue of the Undead, which is one of my favorite towns, by the way. If you let Necropolis breathe, it will shit down your neck. by late game. That's because every time they fight, necromancy revives most units back as skeletons, and if they can assemble a simple as seen on TV artifact, just pull the plug. Quit. Leave. Not sure if your opponent has assembled a Cloak of the Undead King? Don't worry, I have a foolproof method of finding out. Mouse over his stack of power liches in combat. Note down the number. If it's somewhere between several 100,000, or if a text box is flickering and glitching out, he probably has it assembled. Let me explain. Normally, necromancy revives only skeletons, but with a Cloak of a balanced king, you revive liches instead. And liches are level 5 necropolis shooters, and your opponent has billions of them. He has so many that if he ever tries to split the stacks in his inventory, his game will crash. Most spells get better by leveling up your respective school of magic. Often, expert level means you affect every possible target for the spell. At expert earth magic, the slow spell soaks every enemy in shit and reduces their movement speed to a crawl. Let's say for a rampart dwarf, he'll need 14 turns to reach your army, provided there's no boulders or small branches in the way. The same applies to haste. At expert air magic,
The liches thing, man, is that some kind of a oversight, like Bethesda's thing? Like, it's not a bug, it's a feature type of thing? Or it's a literally intended thing? Yeah, I'm not gonna stand here and try to understand every single element of it, right? I have to watch this video 2-3 times before I even know what he's talking about, just in means of tactics. But that, that basically in the numbers things, like he said that there's so many liches. Isn't that a, game killer, game breaker, whatever? That would make the, the enemy really powerful.
magic, every one of your units becomes a high-velocity whirlwind of fucking shit up. If you've got a black dragon, or even better, a phoenix in your party, this often means you win before the enemy can move a single unit. Positioning and coordination on the map are vital skills to win the game. That is, unless you have expert level town portal, which lets your hero enter any friendly town instantly. This usually makes it impossible to lose towns, as a single hero can simultaneously defend them all alone. That is, unless the enemy can cast Dimension Door, which lets them teleport to any location inside of their hero. At expert level, this can be cast 4 fucking times per day, effectively letting a hero with large pools of mana to cover 5 days worth of travel in one, the hero's free equivalent of an intercontinental ballistic missile. Alternatively, if you don't care about strategy or tactics, just recruit somebody with diplomacy, level it up to expert, and approach any stack of rape dragons. Somehow, your poetic way with words will convince them to join you, and then proceed to decimate the continent with your newfound rape dragons. Even better, the added strength of the rape dragons helps convince other ludicrously powerful neutral monsters to join you as well, diminishing the quality of your current game as you snowball straight to victory. If all those tactics seem unbalanced, that's the point. The game thrives on you straining its mechanics, rewarding experimentation, and punishing established conventions.
God, I love that. I'm not gonna lie, I love that shit. Whenever if you can find something, right, you really put your effort into it. You find certain loopholes like that. Then you realize, oh wait a minute, this is game-breaking mechanics. I should spam the shit out of it. Then game becomes way too easier. I don't know why that feels rewarding. Like, yeah, fuck that, man.
There's a reason this game has its own published version of Sun Tzu's Art of War. Winning and victory is about meticulously knowing every intricacy of the game, while making sure your bullshit strategy will beat your opponent's bullshit strategy.
Yeah.
Heroes Free is a great game.
This thing is
still looks
more than
beautiful
one.
to this day, thanks to its hand-sprited graphics. Heroes Free aged better than most of the girls I knew from high school. Then again, heroin is one hell of a drug. The musical score and sound work is also fantastic, and I've got it installed on every computer I ever owned. It's incredibly pleasant in its atmosphere, and a complete joy to play. The best game to cozy up to in a warm blanket with a hot mug of coffee in early spring. The very definition of comfy. That is, unless you're playing multiplayer. Then it's a dumpster fire of hot garbage. The game is trash, unbalanced dog shit. Who the fuck is playing Necropolis? Do you want to be kicked out of the house? Heroes Free. It's a classic, and this review generously paid for by the Merchants Guild. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned.
Yeah, right. So the multiplayer has the same type of, I guess, game-breaking mechanics. They didn't patch it for the multiplayer. That would become a bit like, oh, okay, what the fuck. But then again, all the people who have played multiplayer are by now religiously playing this game, so they would know all of these things already. So it's that kind of element. Things are game-breaking, but if you know the game too well, you can even use that to your advantage, I guess. Then the game becomes balanced. So yeah, I can kind of see why this game is so famous because of its unpredictable behavior of game-breaking mechanics that you can use, right? And also certain things that they put in, like you have to research skills. Now you have certain type of traits that you didn't have before, right? Like Armageddons and shit like that. All the different type of builds that you can use, diplomacy and all that. And it would be really fun to play with friends, I guess. Right, well, that was Heroes of Might and Magic 3 review by the channel ssethtzeentach. If you liked my reaction, don't forget to like, subscribe, check out the bricks handy, there's a link in the description, check out the cards, check out the ink cards, and yeah, I'll see you next time.